I think Amway and Nutrilite also give us a very clear direction whereby they inform us this is actually the true foundation for our nutrition. Okay, and for Atom, there's also a lot of hot selling item that they put into the Atom easy payment method, right? So Trio is also one of it because they know this is very important, especially during this period of time. A lot of people want to improve their immune system. Of course, we have a lot of hero product which can targeted for immune, but actually in the sense of long term, I would actually and highly recommend every one of us to focus on our basic nutrition as well on top of the hero product that we want to boost up our immune system. Because if let's say our foundation of our nutrition is good, then we are able to sustain that good immune system level, right? So before we go into the trio, right, I just want to do a revision for those who have attended our nutrition sharing before, or even for you who are still new to this. I think it's important for us to know first what are the nutrition that we have, 7 elements of nutrition that we have. Because if we don't know what are those 7 elements of nutrition, we will not know the relevance of that trio that I mentioned just now. To you, you will just say, you will just feel that, oh, just simply pick 3 that is hot selling. No, okay, because there's a basis behind it. Is actually we need to understand the foundation of these 7 elements of nutrient first. Okay, so 7 elements of nutrients consist of carbohydrates, minerals, vitamins, proteins, water, fats, and also fiber. Okay, so these 7 elements actually make up the core nutrition that we have in our food. So regardless of what you eat today, as long as things that you can put into your body, definitely there will be proportion of these 7 elements inside that food. Okay, just the matter of how much each of it and the allocation of each of these 7 elements will determine whether that particular food that we input into our body is helpful in our nutrition or is actually a lot of unnecessary elements. Okay, so we from here, right, we can actually tell ourselves how many types of nutrition that we have around us and whether we input enough each of it, and do we know whether the function of all these 7 elements of nutrition. Okay, so if we don't know, I think today we will not go through in detail, but at least in the subsequent slide, I'm going to show you some of the basic concept of these elements. All right, so on the left hand side, you can see it mentions the 5 essential of nutrients. So of course, just now we know there is 7. So the other 2 that not being mentioned here is basically water and also fiber. So water and fiber is the one that often some of the other theory, they might not include fiber and water. But basically, if you include it, we have 7 category, right? But here it mentions the 5 essential nutrients for our body. Basically, all of it have its fundamental function. For example, on the left-hand side, you can see the whole body, when we talk about regulating our body functions, right? Vitamins and mineral plays the most important role in terms of regulating our body function. So when we talk about regulating, including our blood circulation, our immune system regulation, the blood sugar regulation, and also high blood pressure regulation or blood pressure regulation, sorry, all that will also relating to this when we talk about body function. So including hormone as well. Just now I missed out. Okay, so if we are always lack of vitamin and mineral, right, we will have issue in regulating all this body function. And second of all is the protein. So when we talk about protein, we know it's the building block for our body. That's why it is the one that will determine our body growth. So when we talk about body growth, it's not only become bigger, become taller, all that, but also become stronger in terms of our internal system. For example, immune system is also something that relating to our body growth. Okay, so if let's say our body is depleting every day by day and we don't replenish enough of protein, there will not be only no growth, but our body will also deteriorate. So that is very important. And then in terms of energy generation, I think we don't have issue in this area because for fat and carbohydrate, we can easily get it in our daily diet. Okay, it's very easy that we get full and we get energized through the food of carbohydrate and also fat. Okay, so we normally want to control it because we want to regulate a clean energy generation instead of just simply eat anything that will give you energy. Okay, so when we talk about clean energy, we should try to avoid simple carbs, which is like, for example, refined rice or refined grain, okay, or even like sugar. Okay, so on the right hand side is something that I want to mention, because the left hand side we only mention generally vitamins, mineral is regulating body function, and of course I won't go into each and every of the vitamin and mineral function, but on the right hand side, just to give us a perspective, each and every of the vitamins and mineral, they play their role. Okay, so if let's say you lack of any, then it will actually impact the function of our body. Take it for example, iron on the right hand side is very important in terms of our red blood cell, and also to supply and store oxygen also in our body, the role. So if let's say today you lack of iron, right, you will not immediately feel the impact or the side effect, but in the long run, it's going to affect our body regulating function, just like what being mentioned here. So when this function being impaired for the long time, you'll definitely give our body a lot more of burden. Okay, so same goes to other vitamins and mineral you can see here, even including CoQ10. Okay, so each of it also play their role. Of course, it's not limited to here. We know that there's so many types of vitamins and also mineral, right? So how do we want to cover and ensure we get enough of it, right? So first of all, before we know how to actually cover the gaps, we need to know where is the gap first. So do we know where is our gap of all these essential nutrients? So just now, out of the 5 essential nutrients, there are 2 that we don't really worry, which is fat and also carbs, right? But in terms of fat, we do want to take note on the good fatty acid. Okay, so which will be explained in the last point. So first of all, when we talk about protein, we need to calculate our gaps based on this general formula, which is your weight, you times 0.8. That will become how many grams of protein you need per day. So today, if let's say you are a 50 kilo person, you need minimum of 40 grams of protein. So 40 grams of protein can be represented by what? You can actually Google it, or you can list down what you eat today, and then you Google one by one, each of it got how many grams of protein. And then if you add it up, doesn't equal to 40, that means you have that gap, okay, in your daily diet. Okay, and trust me, if let's say today you have that gap, tomorrow and the day tomorrow will be the same, because more or less every day we have that habit to eat almost that portion, almost that same same category of food, right? Okay, so need to think of a way to solve this. Second is vitamins and mineral plus fiber and also phytonutrient. So this entire cluster, right, how do we ensure that we don't have any gaps? It's very simple, but in 3 different perspectives. First, we ask ourselves, because vitamin and mineral mostly is coming from the fruits and vegetable. If in the previous slide you notice, okay, mainly the symbol is from fruits and vegetable. Okay, consists of more vitamin and mineral. So the easiest way is to ensure that we eat 5 different colors of fruits and vegetable on a daily basis. Okay, so same thing just now. If you list already what you ate today, you just categorize, is there any 5 colors of fruits and vegetable? Okay, and then secondly is in terms of the volume. Do you eat 5 bowls of it? Okay, 5 bowls of fruits and vegetable today. Okay, so if let's say no, then there will be, in terms of the quantity, is not enough. All right. So is the guideline that generally given by Australia and also the WHO is two portion of fruits, 2 serving of fruits and 3 servings of vegetables out of these 5 bowls. Okay, so it's not only purely from vegetable or purely from fruits. It's a mix of both with a ratio of 2 to 3. Okay, so if to me, I think it's quite challenging to actually achieve this ratio and to ensure a consistency intake. So if we not able to do it again, we will want to look for that solution, right? We cannot just ignore, because if we ignore, as per previous slide, a lot of our body regulated function will be affected. Lastly is the things that inside the fat category, we will want to emphasize on the good fatty acid. So good fatty acid is the one that we often didn't intake enough. We intake enough of fat, but most of the fat are those trans fat, cholesterol, or omega-6. But what we need is actually omega-3, which will help our body. So how much of it we need in terms of the dosage guideline will be 250 to 500 milligrams of combined of EPA and also DHA. So these two are actually the omega-3 category. So you need the combined of both, not only one of it. Okay, combined of both, total of 250 to 500 milligram. That would be the recommended dosage. Okay, so this is just to flash you guys. This is already a fact that we have this diet inefficiency. So not only that, starting from children already got this issue. So you can see their servings of fruit and vegetable daily is very low. I mean, always will have that gap. So how to actually solve this is actually the parents themselves have to live correctly first. Okay, need to have that correct diet first. If the parent themselves don't have a correct diet, then we can't expect the children to have a consistency in terms of their optimal diet also. So before I go further into the trio foundation, I just want to also always like to emphasize on the importance of optimal. So when we talk about optimal, this first bar is probably the normal diet that we want to achieve, right? The best diet that we want to achieve, represented by this bar. But often we are actually consuming less from what we need actually. So there are three ways to calculate the gap that I mentioned just now, right? So if let's say we answer no to three of that, then actually we already have that gap, which is shown in this second bar. And not only that, we are not only intake not enough of good nutrition, but at the same time, we give our body a lot of burden. For example, processed food, okay, the not right way of preparing our food. We always deep fry, we always stir fry or something. So it gives that extra oil and also extra inflammation to our body. Okay, so a lot of time when we want to move into a healthier lifestyle, a lot of people, what they do is they remain what the good thing that they already intake now, but they thought that just by reducing the damage to the body, they'll tell themselves, I take less soda drink, okay, or I don't eat BBQ anymore. They just reduce the bad thing. But actually this is wrong, right? This is not the correct way of thinking optimal health. But to me, the actual way to achieve optimal health is actually at least we have to in par with what we're supposed to intake as per the first bar. And if can, more than that. Okay, so how do we close this gap is the first question we need to do. Then only if let's say we can cut down all these bad habits, okay, human being definitely we have all these bad habits. Sometimes you crave something, you eat this and you eat that, okay, it's fine. But at least we have to close up that nutrition gap so you can achieve that optimal, right? So don't fall into the second and the third type. Okay, learn how to become the fourth type where we can achieve the optimal health. Right. So when we talk about the trio foundation, just now I already flashed out in the first slide, which is we have protein, we have the double X, and also the salmon omega complex. So why these three become the trio foundation for nutrition? So just now we already know most of the time things that we will lack of or we will in the gap, including protein, vitamins, mineral, and also the good fatty acid, right? So this is why we are combining these three. Okay, so first we want to learn a little bit about protein. Why protein is important? there are actually numerous of key function. First, of course, is the body immune system, because we know the protein is being used to manufacture our white blood cell, which is the key army for our immune system to fight bacteria and also viruses. So that already become a known fact, especially now during COVID. A lot of people contracted, but some doing better, some doing well, some doing very badly. Okay, so it's all about how well our body immune system being built up from day to day. And then also, not only the white blood cell, including our strongest army of immune system, our T cell and also our antibody is also made from protein. So if let's say lack of ingredient, do you think our body will consistently produce or produce in the amount which is sufficient for us to build that defense? No, right? So we have to ensure that at the first place. Second, the function of protein, including the healthy skin, hair, and also nail. Okay, so these three things that a lot of people concern normally is also affected by the protein intake. Number three is the energy level. Remember just now I mentioned we can easily get energy from carbs and also fat, but when these two are in abundance, right, it creates extra burden to our body because the amount of energy that can be produced by carbs and fat is very high. So often it will be in excess. So when it's in excess, it's stored as a visceral fat and also body fat inside our body, which is not good. So if today you want to change or you want to allocate more coming from the lean energy, protein is the one that will give us that lean energy. Okay, because definitely the unused one will be used to regulate and also to repair, to grow our body. Okay, so the other function of protein including growth and also maintenance. So the growth and maintenance of our body will be determined by whether we have this optimal intake of protein. Number five, fluids balance. A lot of people also misunderstand that by taking protein, we'll have the water retention. No, okay? But in fact, it's the other way around. If let's say you intake enough of protein, your fluids in your body will be balanced. So when the fluids is balanced, you will unlikely have the water retention issue. Okay, so number six is the composition of the blood. Okay, inside our blood, okay, the circulation of our blood in our entire body system, okay, there is also fluid inside. Other than red blood cell and white blood cell, we also have the normal platelet and also fluids inside. So how to ensure all these component inside our blood circulation is complete, right? It's also because they are also built using the protein. Okay, so it is the Nutrilite protein is the number one protein in the world. Okay, there's a reason why it's number one. So first of all, it's all plant-based. It's a trio blend of our soy, wheat, and also pea. And then we are the protein that actually disclose all the 9 essential amino acids that we have inside our protein. Okay, so far in the market, I rarely see any label that tell you how much each of the essential amino acid that they have. Because if let's say they didn't have the information, that means they also don't know whether inside there is all the 9 essential amino acids. So third one is cholesterol-free, low in fat to support our diet. So it don't really give extra burden, but it gives that lean energy to us. And for people who have lactose intolerance, this is also very good for them for easy digestion and to avoid that intolerance. So PDCAS is actually the digestibility rate of our amino acid. Okay, so the amino acid, the digestibility of this product is the highest, okay, in this rating and this scale. Okay, so this is as good as natural food like egg and also milk. Okay, so if let's say for other product that they don't actually tell you the digestibility rate, right, you might also wonder, will it actually being digested fully, being utilized fully? That is the question mark, right? So for the just now when I mentioned the PDCAS, this is actually introduced by WHO, a guideline to actually measure the digestibility rate for protein. And I mentioned already, contain all the essential amino acid. To people who don't know the differences between non-essential and essential amino acid, non-essential is something that our body can produce ourselves. So what we really need from our diet is those that is essential. Okay, so but however, in the market, there's a lot of product. They have mix of both, or they don't have enough of essential amino acid, but they do have a lot of non-essential amino acid inside the product, but they will just label it as protein. They won't tell you how much is the essential amino acid. All right, so from here you can see why soy protein is or all plant protein is a great replacement for our protein source. For example, if today if you intake the hard-boiled egg, or you intake via the almond, white rice, or sticks, right? You can see the protein that intake is 8 grams. If let's say we want to intake 8 grams of protein, how much of extra fat and calorie will come along with all this food? It's quite scary, right? Today, if let's say you want to just take 8 grams of protein, wow, suddenly, if let's say rice, you will intake 400 over calorie. Okay, so I think this is the easiest way for us to close up the optimal gap that I show you guys just now. So if we have this solution and it's so easy, why not? Okay, so the second of this trio foundation is actually our double X. So our double X contains 12 vitamins, 9 mineral, and 17 types of phytonutrients. So what are those 17 types of phytonutrients from which fruit, which plant, is all clearly shown on the left hand side here. Okay, so we are not like telling you, or we got phytonutrients, but we don't know what are those plants that they input inside. So all these things are they really extracted, and they tell you how many milligrams that they actually input into each and every of our double X tablets. Okay, so you can see here, like I told you, not only we know that is like from which extract, Asora, cherry, alfalfa, apple, asparagus, broccoli, up to the wild blueberry, all also given the dosage, how many milligram. Okay, so you can know that it's really quality product, whereby you know that inside also they don't simply just put some filler, but it's all this really powerful antioxidant and also phytonutrient inside. Okay, so on top of that, our key concern just now also the 12 vitamins, also vitamins and minerals, right? So in order to close up this gap, I think double X is the best choice for us to close up the gap for vitamins and mineral, because not only it fill up the gap for vitamin and mineral, but at the same time, all these phytonutrients also give the extra benefits that we will not get from our normal diet if let's say we don't intake enough of fruit and vegetable, because each and every of these phytonutrients, you can see some is like acting as a free radical protection, some acting like as a protective enzyme to our body, some acting as an anti-inflammatory agent for our body. So all these things, if let's say today, even if you take fruits and vegetables, you might not intake this variation of different function of phytonutrients. Okay, for example, if let's say you take everything also green leaves, right, you might not encounter any vegetable that is actually anti-inflammatory. You get what I mean? So if let's say you want that variation and you want that kind of enriched function, this is the best way. Okay, so the third one is basically our salmon omega complex in this trio, which is the fatty acid. So not to confuse ourselves, because we already get enough of, we easily get enough of fat, right? So this is particularly for the essential fatty acid, which is the good fatty acid for our body. Okay, so in our salmon omega complex, it contains the HDL, which will actually improve our body cholesterol regulator. So it will lower down our LDL. So whenever we go to do the blood test, you will realize that if you consistently take the fish oil, you will actually help out your cholesterol level as well. So number 3, you will also help to regulate the plaque inflammation. Okay, when we say plaque inflammation, that means inside your blood vessel, right? Sometimes if let's say you have the ulcer, or there's an inflammation happening inside your blood vessel, and that actually create a wound or an injury there, then you will start slowly build up the plaque, which will eventually clog out the blood vessel. So that is what happening day in, day out. There will actually, sometimes people, their whole blood vessel has been blocked. It's due to that. So if let's say today we intake enough of good fatty acid, it will actually regulate and prevent that from happening. So number 4, okay, our omega salmon complex is not only from salmon only, it contains other quality fish also, and it's not from any fish farm, it's from the pure waters of Norway, from the deep sea. So when it's coming from the pure water of Norway, deep sea, it also lower down the risk of heavy metals. So even if there is, okay, Nutrilite is using a very high-tech technology to distill this fish oil from the content. So can you imagine for those other product in the market that they don't actually get it from the deep sea, and at the same time, if they don't have a good distilling technology, then it's the double risk, right? So here, actually, Nutrilite always strive to provide the best. Okay, so I just want to, before I end my sharing, I just want to share a little bit more on the fatty acid. So just now we say that fatty acid we can easily get from our diet as well, but mostly they are actually more omega-6, not omega-3. Omega-3 is very rare and it's harder to accumulate from our food diet because it's mainly in the fish, okay, fish type of food. So ask ourselves, okay, we all know seafood meals definitely is expensive, right? So we hardly eat seafood on the daily basis. What to mention if let's say is particularly like salmon, all this, okay? Most of the time, every day we eat chicken, more chicken, and then even the cooking oil that we use, right? If we don't carefully pick the high quality cooking oil, the common cooking oil most of the time also give us omega-6. Right? So if you want to improve your omega-3, you have to be very particular and you have to choose especially when you opt for the food. For example, eat more avocado, eat more salmon, use a good cooking oil like flaxseed oil or canola oil at least. So if let's say you are not using all these, right, most of the time we only intaking omega-6. So what's wrong with omega-6? Okay, it's still fatty acid, but if let's say excess of omega-6 as shown in the green color box at the bottom here, it will actually cause more inflammation inside our body. So when our body already having a lot of free radical plus inflammation, you will fasten your aging. You will also fasten a lot of damage inside our body. While on the other hand, omega-3 is the one that will reverse this process. So if let's say we intake enough of omega-3, not only you will look, you can sustain younger, but at the same time, it also help our body to have less burden. Okay, so it's very, very important for us to not take it lightly to intake this omega-3 as well. So I think with the sharing of this first session, I hope I'm able to share you guys the importance of this trio foundation. And I think that this is actually the best package if you sign up someone or if you welcome your friends to the nutrition, starting their nutrition journey, right? I think this trio is the best for them to start off with. And now with this atom payment method, is as low as 112 per month. If you are taking the small bottle of the salmon omega, you are taking just a normal flavor, the optimum flavor, and you're taking the refill pack is as low as 112 only. But even if you do other variation, which you opt for the higher price protein, for example, berry, or you go for the big bottles of omega, it's also 1 month only 144. Okay, you divide by 30 days again, how much is it? So it's definitely, now it's really getting easier for us to close up this nutrition gap, right? So it's no longer excuse for people not to live optimally. So I think now with this payment method is definitely doable for everyone to engage with this program and then can actually start this trio. But of course, we have other set of product bundle as well as I shared just now. Do go through our promotion of this month. And this Atom is actually so far it will be a long term. So until June. So you take this opportunity to actually kickstart. Okay.